Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the perfect all butter pie crust. This pie crust is so simple. Literally this is all the ingredients. So you're going to do 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon sugar, a teaspoon salt, some cold butter, 1 cup, and 8 tablespoons of ice cold water. So I'm going to pull it out of the ice bath. And that is it. So we're going to start by cutting up this ice cold butter into cubes and then chopping it into the flour, sugar, salt mixture, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've cut this butter into about 1-inch cubes. It is so cold, so like right out of the freezer, cold butter. That is gonna make a difference because then it makes cold chunks of butter in your pie crust, which gives you the flakiness that you are wanting. So we're gonna put in my little standing handheld food processor. We're gonna put the flour, we're gonna put the sugar, we're gonna put the salt. And then I'm going to process that simple little food processor a few times just to make sure that it is all mixed together. Then I'm gonna throw in the butter, chunks, the squares of butter, and then I'm gonna chop it. I'm gonna process it through until it is little pebbles and it looks kind of like sand, but you can see the pebbles of butter in the flour mixture. And then at that point, we're gonna add the water. Okay, chopped it up. You can see the chunks. They're tiny little chunks of butter now. Now I'm gonna take my water. It's very important that it's ice cold. Everything in a pie dough should be chilled as much as possible so that it doesn't shrink down into your pie dish. That is what helps it not shrink, is having it so cold. So now that's 2 tablespoons, 3, taking it right out of the ice water, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm gonna mix it together, and after it's gonna start clumping just a little bit and looking more like a wet sand. And if I pinch it together, it's gonna stay. Okay, after you have added the water and mixed it in, it will pinch together like this. It's still dry. That is pie crust, but we're gonna put them in the fridge, put the crust in the fridge to hydrate the flour a little bit longer, and it will get a little bit easier to roll out. We're gonna pour it into this plastic wrap. Now the bottom is gonna be more dry than the top because it doesn't mix all the way. That's okay, we're gonna pinch it together and it'll start, we can kind of knead it like a bread dough and it will start to mix and hold its shape. So we're gonna get it all into a disc and then cover it with plastic wrap. But you want to keep the butter in chunks because again, that's what makes the soft, flaky crust that we all love. I'm going to take off the plastic to knead it a little bit more. And it's very water as needed. So if you feel like it's too dry, it's not coming together, you can add another tablespoon if you need, but I try to see first if I can get it to come as one before adding more water, because sitting in the fridge is gonna hydrate that dough, hydrate the flour a little bit more. So we're gonna grab all these crumbs, get them in there so that we don't have any butter left behind. Okay. Like honestly beautiful, because this, you can see the butter in the crust still together, and that is what makes you know that your pie crust is gonna be so flaky and so delicious. I always opt for an all butter pie crust over a crust with shortening. Just shortening is easier to work with, but butter is more delicious. Shortening doesn't have flavor. Butter is everyone's favorite. So check out that dough. You can see the butter flakes in there. And now I'm gonna put this in the fridge and let it rest for at least 30 minutes and chill. Okay, the dough is rested and I've cut it in half, and I'm going to, look how much easier it is to stay together because the flour has hydrated and the butter is even more chilled. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get a lightly floured surface and I'm going to set down the pie crust and I'm gonna roll it out. Obviously get a little bit of flour on your roller as well. The best way to roll it out into a circle is to do a couple rolls and then pick it up and turn it a quarter turn. A couple more rolls and then pick it up. It's not gonna be an exact circle, but at least this way it's not lopsided. We got it rolled out on all sides. Turn it again. So we need it big enough to fill the bottom of the pie dish. All of the pie crust recipes are enough for both a top and a bottom, and mine is the same, so you can have, if you're making a pie that only needs a bottom crust, then you have enough crust for two. But if you're making a pie that has both top and bottom, then you split it in half and you will have enough for both the top and the bottom pie crust. Oops, losing my mat a little bit. And keep rolling it out. And then I've sprayed my pie plate with nonstick spray so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. Now I'm going to put it in and press it into the bottom of your pie dish. Okay, there is the bottom crust. Then we're going to fill it with whatever filling. So this is all about the pie crust today, so we're not gonna talk about what filling we're putting in. We're just gonna fill it up and then work on that top pie crust. There's all this excess that you can actually just cut off because you don't need it. You can make pie scrap cookies with it, which are delicious. Sprinkle a little sugar on it, cut it out. Everyone loves to munch on a little bit of pie. Okay, here is the top pie crust. So once you've filled your pie, this is where we go and we create a beautiful outer edge. So we're gonna cut off the excess here. And again, you could just make some pie scrap cookies with them. Always delicious. You just sprinkle on some cinnamon sugar and bake them in little cookie shapes. Everyone loves some pie dough, or pie crust. That's the best part of the pie in my opinion. If it's a good one, it's the best part. Now we're gonna go and decide on what. So I'm using my finger. I'm gonna use my middle finger and it's gonna push, or my ring finger, it's gonna push or my thumb, you can use any one. Push the dough into the pinch that I've created with my other hand and create just a nice scallop-like edge. And I'll continue around the whole pie, pinching the bottom and the top crust together so that it seals. And then we're gonna get ready for an egg wash to make sure that that crust browns beautifully. After that, there's the pie. Then of course we need some ventilation in the pie. I'm gonna cut a a little square so that the pie crust doesn't puff up, that has some air vents for some of that steam to escape from. Okay, now we're gonna egg wash this to make sure that we get a nice golden center. So the edges don't normally need it because they get golden, but the center, we're gonna put on a little bit of egg, mix with a little bit of milk or water, whatever you prefer, and we're going to just brush it on the pie to make sure we get that nice golden finish. And then we're gonna throw this pie in the oven to bake. Here is the finished pie. It's perfect. The crust didn't shrink down too much. It's golden and delicious and just right for your holiday dinner table. Remember, it's all butter crust, so the flavor is unbeatable.